Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's tasting with Sweet Baby Vineyard. We are so excited to have everybody here on Zoom tonight. Typically, we push all of these events through to Facebook Live as well for people to watch who didn't pre-register, but Facebook is having some issues this evening and we're not able to push this live at the beginning. So we will be sharing this video to Facebook later on tonight. So for those of you watching here on Zoom, please go ahead and get your questions ready to leave in the chat for Lewis. He's going to walk us through a great local tasting tonight with some of his products that are available in our stores. We're so excited to have him on. We had Lewis on for a live feed over the summer, and you guys loved him. You asked him great questions. You kept him on over the time that we had planned with so many awesome questions. So we hope that you have just as many tonight. So tonight, on the line, you have me, Carol Ann. I will be sharing all those questions as they come up with Lewis and with Chad from our wine marketing team. So we are thrilled to have you here for the last night of our New Hampshire Local Week. Tomorrow we head over to California. So Lewis, please, let's have some wine. It's Wine Thursday.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks for having me, guys. Happy holidays. Happy first night of Hanukkah for people to celebrate as well. I know we'll be jumping over and doing that later. My wife is Jewish, so we observe all the holidays in my house basically, which is great. The more celebration, the better these days, right? Lighten things up. But tonight I have all products out. We're going to taste all of these 6 different products that are available in the New Hampshire State Liquor Stores. I believe all of these are available in the 32 wine specialty stores where we're available at point of purchase right now for the Iraq program, and they're also available for the Keep It Local campaign that's going on right now too. So three bottles or more, 10% off, and that seems like an indefinite special that's going on. It's been going on for a while, and I think it just keeps continuing. And thank you very much for that. But welcome to Sweet Baby Vineyard. We've been around since 2008. We're a medium-sized producer, I'd say, in New Hampshire. We produce about 5,000 cases a year, and we specialize in locally grown fruit. So everything that you see here tonight has been grown either by us or another local producer in New Hampshire, and we're really proud that we can produce this much quality product with using locally grown produce. So I guess about us. We started in 2008, so we're entering our 13th year of business. Actually, last week was our anniversary of opening. We opened in December of 2008. Since then, we've had a couple more kids, so our total for kids are 4. So my wife and I and 4 kids run our business. We've got a couple of ladies that help us in our tasting room as well on the weekends when we get really busy. But other than that, I am the winemaker, delivery guy, and the vineyard manager. So it takes a lot of us to do it, and I enjoy doing it. I grew up right here in New Hampshire, and my grandfather was a farmer. It's kind of in my blood, and I love what I do, and I hope it shows in the product that's carried in all the state stores. So we're going to start off tonight with our Niagara grape wine. So this is sort of like New Hampshire's version of a Moscato. Everybody always asks us, do you guys make a Moscato? No, we don't, but we make one, I think, that has a lot more character than a Moscato. This right here, I'm not quite sure you can see this on the Zoom, but this is our Niagara. And if you're looking for codes in the state store, it's 30607. And it's carried in, I believe, like maybe 40 or so stores, maybe a little more. Chad could correct me if that's right or wrong, but it's a really clean wine, grows easily here in New Hampshire. I believe it's cold hardy to about 25 to 30 below zero before you lose your fruiting cane. So it's really, really a nice grape for us. We do it in a couple different versions, or actually 3. We do a dry Niagara, we do a sparkling Niagara, and the one that's carried in the state liquor stores is this still Niagara. And we do it in a Finger Lake style. And really, really tasty grape. Pairs well with, believe it or not, takeout Chinese food is the perfect pairing for this wine. or, you know, another glass of it when it's really hot out. It's refreshing. And the kind of the notes of this one, if you're familiar with Concord grapes, this is a cousin to the Concord grape. It's actually one of the parents of this grape is Concord. So it's got that nice, you know, really fruity characteristic. And like I said, it's the second largest planted grape across the United States, thanks to Welch's grape juice. This is their white grape juice. Grape is Niagara. But clean and fresh, lends itself to a nice residual sugar. This one's about 6.5% residual. The acidity is high, so that might sound like a lot of sugar, but it's really not. It's a really balanced wine because the acidity will cut right through that, and that's kind of characteristic of New Hampshire grapes. We have a very short growing season, so so the grapes tend to be you know, a little bit more acidic than a warmer grape like you know, Cabernet Sauvignon or even Sauvignon Blanc, things that are grown on the West Coast that have the, you know, they have the advantage of the very long growing season. But what they don't have is the season where it captures all of our aromatics and these nice young white wines. Really, really beautiful wine, sells tons in our taster room, and it's really picking up steam in the state liquor stores. Second one we're going to taste, and if I'm going too fast, Carol Ann, let me know, please.
Awesome.
But we grow this one right on our property as well.
Oh, Louis, that's what somebody just asked. Somebody was wondering if these were some of the grapes that you grew, and I'm pretty sure they are the grapes that are behind me.
Yeah, if you look at Carol Ann's background, I believe the first, so the short section of rows over there, all the way, that would be my right, Carol Ann's left, and all the way over to probably the fifth big row is Niagara. Then also what you can't see in the background, we do have other sections of vineyard that have probably another, I guess another 400 vines that would be Carol Ann's left as well, that are strictly Niagara. And then we're going to put in another acre of Niagara, hopefully this spring, weather permitting. It's a really, really versatile wine, and it makes a beautiful sparkler too. That's what we're going to plant more for, is for more sparkling wines.
Great. While we're still talking about the Niagara, I just want to tell everybody, I actually took this picture that's behind me. I had the pleasure of visiting the winery last spring. Louis and I met. We actually did Facebook Live then as well. He is a great Facebook Live person to have on. And I know he mentioned that the winery just celebrated an anniversary. So when they were at their old location, I actually went to a surprise 30th birthday party. I think you guys had only been open for about a year at that point, and it was a great event. You've been making great wine all along, and your new location is awesome. So I just wanted to add in my own little Sweet Baby story.
that was one of the coolest birthday parties I think I've ever seen. Like super over the top and really awesome. You guys did a great job too. My part was easy. I was just pouring wine.
You had the toughest job, my friend.
Keeping you guys happy? Yeah, my pleasure. So I guess we'll move on to the next one. This is Callum's Red. This grape is called Leon Malo. So actually using the diagram behind you, or the picture behind you, right after the Niagara to your right-hand side, that's where the Leon starts that we use in this Callum's Red. And that's another very cold hardy, you know, grape variety. And that's kind of the theme here. We're not lucky enough to grow, you know, Cabernet or Pinot Noir or things like that. A lot of the grape varieties that people know, you know, or associate with really great wines, we just can't do it. Our season is too short. So if they are, you know, carried by some of our wineries, it's because they import the grapes, and that's fine too. A lot of us do that because, you know, it's name recognition. We bring that in so we can introduce you to a lesser known product. That's kind of the theory here at Sweet Baby Vineyard. So you will see some vinifera style grapes that we do bring in the grapes and make the wine here. But we're really proud of the stuff that we do grow right here on this property or at our partner farms right in New Hampshire. But this one here, we call it Callum's Red. It's named after my son, Callum. We try to name each of our, you know, at least one of our wines after each one of the 4 children. So We have one more to name, and we're not quite sure what it's going to be yet. We're in the process of an adoption, so we can't make it final yet. So when he's finally adopted, we'll name a wine after him. But it's coming soon. But back to the Callums. So this is a French hybrid. So anybody that knows anything about grape growing or is even curious about grape growing, these grapes, a lot of these were, I don't want to say engineered because that's a kind of a dirty word, but created by botanists that were, what they do is they try to create something that will grow in a cold climate or be disease resistant or, ripen in a short season like we have here, but also contain some characteristics of its parentage. So usually what they do is they start with, say, a Concord grape and, a Cabernet Sauvignon. In this case, it was actually Vitis riparia, Vitis lambrusca, and, Rupresta, and Vitis vinifera. So the parent vinifera grape for this one is actually a gold Riesling. It's a red wine. But something about that gold Riesling made it work in that cooler climate. So that's why they engineer grapes like that when these guys are hybridizing these type of grapes. University of Minnesota is really big with it. Cornell's big with it, creating new grape varieties that will grow in certain areas of the country and actually produce a quality wine. And thankfully, this is one of them. It was brought here to the United States because they couldn't use it in France. Because of their strict laws on control origins, so they wouldn't allow them to have a hybrid grape inside of a vinifera, let's say like in Bordeaux or Burgundy or anything like that. Their rules are so strict that this grape came here, grew in North America, wonderful, especially on the East Coast, and produces wonderful wine. We do it in a sweeter style as well. And unfortunately, these are all sweet wines. So everything that's in the state stores currently are on our sweeter style. But I think if you're a serious wine person or even a new wine person, you can learn to appreciate sweeter wines. The more you try them, the more you work your way through the gamut of wines, you learn to appreciate hundreds of styles. So we do it in sweet. Like I said, our acidity here in New Hampshire is pretty, it's pretty high compared to a lot of areas in the country, but it's a beautiful wine, pairs great with barbecue, pizza as well. Perfect with a pizza, especially with something with a sweet sauce. I grew up on the seacoast and we're used to the beach pizza, like, Tripoli's and Christie's and things of that nature. And I see you guys all shaking your head, so you know what I'm talking about. But beautiful wine.
I know.
And I promised Carol Ann I would taste every single wine here, so you can watch my color change a little bit as we drink too. Excellent. Any questions on the Callums, Carol Ann? I know you've tried that one before.
I have. So Louis, not on the Callums, but somebody is wondering how you got into winemaking.
Good question. So I had a uncle. He and I started it as a hobby. He was, he'd lived all over the country. He was a Navy guy, and then once he got out of the Navy, he worked in different nuclear power plants across the United States, and he ended up luckily getting back here to New Hampshire, right in Seabrook, where I grew up. There's a nuke plant, and he took a job there and came back and lived here for several years. And he and my aunt and their children, they got a house over in Kingston, and we'd get together on the weekends and make wine. It was kind of a hobby. It was a good release from our regular jobs. He was in the nuclear engineering field. I was in construction. I built superstructures all over the state of Massachusetts, bridges, highway systems, and things of that nature. And it was just something different, and it was fun. And it's rewarding too, especially when you make something good. And usually when it's free, no one tells you it's bad. So we get to test it out on everybody. We got to a point where I probably had at least 1,000 bottles of wine in my basement of all homebrew stuff. And my wife said, you gotta, either you give up this hobby, scale it back, or or get your license and you know, bring it to market. And that's what I did. And I thought it was just going to be small. I thought it was just going to, you know, a couple hundred cases a year, sell it to a couple friends and maybe 1 or 2 stores. And we eventually got into the market basket stores, then the state liquor stores, and it just kind of spiraled from there. And I pretty quickly had to leave my job that I had been at for 17 years because I like, you know, let's face it, I like doing this a lot better than traveling all over the place, doing that kind of work. I mean, I enjoyed that work, but this keeps me home, and it's you know, it's something that my family can do with me as well. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, thank you, Louis.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. And no signs of quitting. Hopefully at some point my kids will help me out. My oldest daughter does right now, but yeah, the dream is someday they take it over, you know, probably who knows how long from now, but you know, and I'm just the old guy out in the back in the vineyard, tending the vines and enjoying myself. So next wine up is our peach wine. So our peach wine, we don't grow the peaches right here on property. We actually get our peaches from Applecrest Farms over in Hampton Falls, New Hampshire. We use a mix between white peaches and yellow, you know, peaches. And they're literally grown right over there by the Wagner family. We've been using them since we opened. All of our fruits we get from the same exact source every year. We deal with the same exact farmers. We don't shop it around. We know what we get for quality. This is the literal worst wine in the world to make as a winemaker. I don't know why, but I've always done it exactly the same way. I hand cut every single peach by hand with a paring knife. So when we get our peaches in, it's usually about 2,000 pounds of peaches at once. And I just put my, you know, my headphones on, turn on my bad 80s hair metal, you know, that I grew up listening to, and just start carving peaches. We ferment it skin on. So I just take and cut the peach, pull the pit out, skin and all goes in the fermenter, and we let the yeast do its work. All of our wines are that way. We do, literally it's, you know, yeast, fruit, sugar, water, that's it. We are very minimalist when it comes to that. That's my philosophy. I don't like to have a lot of, you know, a lot of influence or any added chemicals or anything like that. You know, it tastes like New Hampshire, and that's what we're proud of. But like I said, Applecrest Farms provides us with great fruit, and makes our life really easy because we know the quality that we're going to get year in and year out. And this one here, it tastes like just eating a peach. That really, that's about the only descriptor I can give it. We bring this one up to about 5.5% residuals. So if anybody doesn't know what that means, that means there's 55 grams of sugar per liter of wine. So it's not a whole heck of a lot in a whole liter. So it's not overly sweet. The reason we bring it up to that amount is that's what brings out the fruit characteristic the best that we've found over the years of making it. And it's a pretty bulletproof method. I think maybe for the last 8 or 9 years, this has been the second most popular wine in, for New Hampshire wines in the state liquor stores. And really cool for us, and we're really proud of it. And I told you I'd take a sip.
Excellent. We have a couple of questions about the peach.
Sure.
I believe the answer to the first question is yes, but Chad, Louis, I will let you guys confirm. Is the peach available year round?
It is. Yeah, I don't think we've ran out of this in a really long time, Chad. I'm not sure, but
No, it's available year round in our New Hampshire liquor stores. I don't believe we've ever run out of it.
yeah, it's yeah, I think you're right. I mean, this one sells a ton, and it always surprises me. I mean, it's really good. Blueberry is just bulletproof, and we'll get to that one later. That one is like so tried and true, but I really I got to give peach a lot more credit because it is always way up there on the top of the list. And yeah, it's a great wine. You know, another dessert style, I guess, using the Riesling scale of sweetness, it would be considered a sweet wine, but you can drink this one like a, you know, a standard white wine, I think. It makes a great sangria as well if you're going to make a white sangria.
Ooh.
It's just so much fruit on the palate. It's super tasty. Pain in the butt to make, super tasty wine.
Well, now everybody has a little bit of insight into how that wine is made, and it is available year round. So go grab a bottle for this weekend. Bring a little bit of the summer back into this weekend.
Absolutely. And if Chad runs out, we'll bring him some more. Excellent. Did you say there was 2 questions?
Yes, the other one. So Tracy asked here in the chat about the percentage of alcohol. Chad did already answer her in the chat, but Louis, can you maybe share that for everybody else watching?
Absolutely, yeah. So this one usually runs standard about 11.5, 12% alcohol. We found that's kind of the spot to keep the wine from like you know, the sweeter style wine from being very cloying on your tongue. So if you keep it the alcohol pretty moderate at about 11.5, 12%, it stays light, doesn't get really sticky. So each taste is like the first taste. Your tongue doesn't get masked. Yeah, that's kind of the reason we do it. We don't want it to be like a piece of candy, you know, a Jolly Rancher or anything like that. We want it to be a real serious drinkable wine that you're not going to get sick of.
I don't think anybody's going to get sick of your peach or the blueberry if I'm speaking for myself, but we'll get there.
You've been a fan of that for a long time.
I think since the day I turned 21.
Absolutely. That was like last week, right?
Yes, exactly.
Me too. I got the gray cut out of the sides today, but.
Yeah, that license that says I'm mid-30s, it's not right.
Well, I turned 49 in 2 weeks, so yeah, I got to expect it, you know.
Well, happy early birthday.
No, thank you very much. Yeah, right during the holiday season, might as well jam everything right in one spot, right?
Yep.
So the next wine we're going to talk about here is our strawberry wine, again grown over at Applecrest Farms over in Hampton Falls, New Hampshire. With this wine here, we don't use, you know, if you've ever been out to a pick your own place in New Hampshire, they're not the big giant California strawberries, right? These are the little kind of ugly strawberries, but they have all the flavor. That's what we use. We go through somewhere around 8,000 pounds of strawberries a year, I guess, to make strawberry wine. One of the only places it's carried is the state liquor stores and in our tasting room. Great wine, whole fruit fermentation. So what we do with this one, literally cut the green off, throw the whole strawberry in, let the yeast do its work, let the fermentation process, you know, take over, punch it down a couple times a day for, probably takes about 2 weeks to ferment totally, maybe 3, depending on the temperature in the winery. And makes a really, really wonderful wine, nice and light in color. Yeah, and absolutely, like, as with all of our fruit wines, the only thing in that wine is the fruit. It's not a grape base, it's the fruit. So fruit, water, sugar, yeast, that's it. And you get strawberry wine. Really big seller as well, always on the top 1,200 list that's put out by the State Liquor Commission. Yeah, and one of our first wines we made, we actually, when we rolled out as a company, our first wines that we came out with were strawberry, blueberry, peach, and apple actually were the 4. We came out with fruit wines because they're a little quicker to the market than a grape wine. You know, start to finish, you can have the fruit wine in the bottle on the shelf in about 4.5, 5 months. Whereas grape wines, they take a lot longer to develop. They take longer to age, barrel age as well. We do these all clean in stainless steel fermenters. So it's nice and bright, clean, and yeah, they taste exactly like the fruit that was picked out of the field at Applecrest Farms. And this one, strawberry shortcake, you know, good pairing for that. Obviously, something with a really hearty whipped cream, like a real whipped cream, not the stuff in the can. But that would be the perfect pairing for this, like maybe a trifle. I don't get to taste these that much. I'm always working.
Louis, are you allowed to tell us what type of yeast you use in your wines?
Absolutely, yeah. Yep, so with the fruit wines, we usually go with a grape yeast called EC1118. It's a Lallemand product. It is a champagne yeast. So what happens with these is it doesn't impart any different flavors. Some yeast will impart like different flavors. This is what they call a neutral yeast with low flocculation. So that means that it doesn't have a giant, like, you know, it doesn't have a lot of foam when the yeast is eating itself and multiplying until the sugar is completely, because that's the whole yeast job. It eats the sugar till it dies. The byproduct is CO2 as it dies and alcohol, right? So that's its sole job, is to eat itself to death and produce alcohol. If we wanted to, we could get up to about 18% alcohol with this one. That's the threshold. But the great thing about this too is if we do a real cold fermentation, this yeast has a tolerance down to about 55 degrees. So if we want something to get really, really fruity, which comes from a long fermentation, we can get it down to about 55 degrees, pitch yeast, and maintain that temperature, creating a very, very fruity wine. Yeah, but we found that works great with something like this red wine, the Leon, which is the Callum's Red. We use a yeast called RC212. And that one, doesn't have as much as the alcohol tolerance, but it promotes fruity characteristics, which is what we're going for with a sweeter wine. Also, it prevents, it has very low hydrogen sulfide inhibitor, so you don't get that kind of eggy smell, which is not good. No one likes that. Does that answer that?
Yes, thank you.
Sorry to be so technical, but once I get into that, I kind of geek out.
No, that's great. Before we move on to the next wine, I do want to welcome, we have a couple people who have joined us. Since we weren't able to go live on Facebook due to technical difficulties, I did reshare the link to the Zoom, and we have 4 people who just joined us from Facebook. So if you guys missed anything, don't worry, we're recording, and the full video of tonight's event will be available on our Facebook and our YouTube channel. So thank you for joining us. We're so excited you're here, and we're sorry for any pieces that you may have missed. I blame Facebook servers.
Hey, at least we still have a connection. That's always iffy this time of the year too.
Yep.
And anybody that's been experiencing Zoom for the past 10 months or whatever it's been, yeah, it's always shaky doing these virtual things, but you guys pull it off very well.
Thank you. And then Louis, we have a couple more questions for you if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah.
Paul is wondering if you use a granular sugar or a liquid form of sugar.
No, so we don't use the liquid form would be like an inverted sugar. We use just regular cane sugar. So we could use inverted. It's super, super expensive. And I wouldn't even know where to get it at this point. No, we just use regular, fair trade, non-GMO cane sugar. We're kind of restricted for what we can use because the FDA kind of governs that stuff, which is the information is put out by the TTB, the Tax Trade Bureau, which is the federal arm of alcohol enforcement. So yeah, we can use things like, you can use cane sugar or honey or maple syrup or anything like that. But for us, the easiest thing for us to use is cane sugar, and it doesn't impart any different flavors as well. So, cane sugar is pretty neutral. It's just sweet. That's all.
So you mentioned that the sugar is fair trade. That's actually a great segue because one of our viewers wants to know if your fruit is organic.
It is not organic, but I will tell you, organic, I mean, it can be obviously achieved here in New Hampshire. It's really, really tough, and it's really costly for small farms to become certified organic. What we try to do is we deal with, low spray, you know, biodiverse farms like that, people that use a multitude of practices, but very, lower on the spray end. What happens here in New Hampshire is during these growing seasons, we end up, if it's 90 degrees out, we get 90% humidity. What comes with the humidity is mold. And these French hybrid grapes like this one here, they're sulfur sensitive, so we can't use the organic measures on the French hybrid grapes. It's toxic to them. So you can't use the Bordeaux organic methods, which is copper sulfur. So we tend to use a very low spray stuff you can get right at Agway. I mean, we don't use any of the restricted use stuff, and we try to spray as absolutely little as possible.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. All right, can we move on to the next wine?
Yeah, is it time for the one I think?
It's your favorite one? I think you said you were going to drink with me. Maybe later, right? You probably can't do it right now.
I'm ready for later. My fiance is going to pick up takeout for dinner. I've got the blueberry wine ready.
Oh, nice. Nice. What kind of takeout?
A double bacon cheeseburger.
Oh, now you're speaking my language. So this is your favorite wine. This is our blueberry wine. These blueberries, sorry to Maine, but we don't use Maine blueberries. We use New Hampshire grown blueberries. These come from a single farm up in Alton, New Hampshire, a place called Taylor Brown Blueberry Company. I was lucky enough, my stepfather found her 13 years ago, Patty Rogers up at Taylor Brown. She's been growing blueberries for, I don't even know how long, probably, I don't want to give away her age, but quite a while. She has probably 100 and something acres of low bush wild blueberries, all hand harvested, and just produces a great product. My stepfather found her on Craigslist, New Hampshire, when I was trying to find blueberries in a good amount. We're lucky. She takes them during the season, freezes them for us. We can pick them up year round. So if we have a tank open, I can run up there to Alton, grab a couple thousand pounds of blueberries, get them in the fermenter. Takes about 10 days for them to thaw out these 20-pound blocks of blueberries in the fermenter. That's what produces that beautiful color. So nice cold soak. And then it also keeps a very slow fermentation as well because the blueberries are so cold. But we do it like a Pinot Noir method. So if anybody's familiar with how Pinot Noir is made, they use whole berry fermentation. So that's what we do with our blueberries. We put the blueberries in the tank, add the water, the sugar to get the alcohol up, and pitch the yeast. Punch it down about 2 times a day, manually with just a big stainless steel punch down tool. Cap rises as the fermentation happens. All the fruit sets on the top, and you punch that down manually with this punch down tool. And you get a workout, and you get color, you get tannins, you get all that beautiful flavor from the blueberries. This wine here, we will never shop anywhere else for our blueberries. We've been I think for the past 9 years, the most popular New Hampshire wine in the state liquor stores with this blueberry wine. It's phenomenal for us. On the top 1,200 list, I think we were 444 this year. Chad, if I'm not, I mean, those are the little things I remember because it builds my winemaker ego, but really doesn't mean too much to many other people, but we're super proud of that. And that's why my hands are always stained blue, because we make so much blueberry wine. And yeah, I mean, you guys go through more of this than anybody. And looking at my notes, I was thinking of a pairing for it, but it sounds like a bacon cheeseburger is probably the perfect pairing tonight for that.
I have yet to have anything that it doesn't pair well with.
So blueberry, what we do with this one here, just so you guys know, is we don't use a mechanical press on this one either. What we do is, and it seems really, really old school and probably not, probably doesn't yield as much as we possibly could, but we don't even use a mechanical press on this. We do have a big giant bladder press. We do have a, you know, ratchet press and things of that nature. We don't use that on this. I hand press the blueberries with a, if you guys have ever been to the restaurant supply place, it looks like a big colander with a pole on it. I hand squeeze every single berry for this wine through a like a crayfish strainer, they call it. So I don't even use a mechanical press on this. It takes hours and hours and hours, and that's why it comes out so good. And I won't change the way I make it. And I had some parents written down here. I'm sorry, I'm looking for them, but I think I talk more than my notes.
Louis, while you look, I feel like I should know this answer, but I don't. And great question from Tracy. She wants to know how many blueberries does it take to make one bottle?
Oh God, I'd have to get the calculator out. But so what we do with the blueberries, when we make it in a 1,000-liter tank. So a 1,000-liter tank will hold about 1,000 pounds of blueberries, thereabouts. Out of 1,000, so get your iPhone out, and these are the numbers I'm going to give you. So a 1,000-liter tank is 260 gallons roughly. Divide that by 2.5. That's going to give you your case count. So it's about 107, 108 cases per 1,000-liter tank. So you can take that number and divide the blueberries into it. But I'd have to say it's probably about 4 pounds per gallon, I'd say. 4.5 pounds per gallon. And out of a gallon, you'll get 5 bottles. So a pound per gallon. Wow, I just worked out that math and I've drank 5 different samples of wine. Hopefully it makes sense.
That's awesome. Thank you, Louis.
No problem. So with this one here too, also we branched out with our blueberry wines. They're not available in the state stores yet because we produce so few of them. But you know, down the road as we increase production, maybe I'll come to Chad with some more products. But we make a port style out of this that we barrel age. We're using Flag Hill bourbon barrels. So when they're done making their bourbon, we use we put our blueberry wine in there, and then we fortify it with 190 proof spirits made from apples to make a 21% port style wine made with blueberries. We also make obviously the still version, and hopefully by the first of the year we're going to have our sparkling blueberry wine out, which is super exciting. Super exciting. That one's definitely coming your way, Chad. We're going to bring you a couple bottles, let you try them out. But yeah, super versatile fruit. And we love using Patty up there at her farm. I was hoping she'd adopt a 49-year-old man and get me into the family, but life goes on.
Awesome.
Excellent. Any questions?
Yes, so before we move on, we have a couple of people are curious about pricing. So Chad, I was wondering if you could tell everybody a little bit about our pricing and about our New Hampshire rack program.
Yep, so currently all of Lewis's wines are available on the New Hampshire rack program. I believe it's in 32 stores currently. They're located at the front register. So when you are on your way to the checkout, they are located at the front of the store. All of these wines are under $13. So the blueberry is $12.99. The white peach is $11.99. The strawberry is $12.49. The raspberry is $11.99, which is kind of jumping ahead a little bit. The Callum's Red is $12.49, and the Niagara is $11.49. And right now, with the 10% off for 3 bottles or more of New Hampshire products, it is a phenomenal chance to try these wines.
And Chad, before we go back to Louis, you gave some great pairing options in the chat. Could you share those? Could you talk about them too? Because I feel like everybody needs to know what you've just suggested.
So the blueberry wine, I personally love to pair it with like cheesecake. It goes phenomenal with it. And I know people have heard me say it before, but it really does. Or a nice soft brie, because of the blueberry flavor. It kind of, you want to do a soft cheese, you want to do anything that's going to overpower it. Like a really sharp cheddar would be a little too much, but like a nice soft brie is perfect. Or more blueberry wine is my favorite pairing. But I also find it makes a very, very good spritzer, or you could even mix it with lemonade, which is a really, really good kind of like cocktail for the summertime, or a spritzer for the holiday season. It does really, really well.
Absolutely. We like to pair it with breakfast for dinner too. Before we started with the Zoom, we were talking about how we both raised chickens, Chad and I, and we used to end up with so many eggs. We'd do like breakfast for dinner once a week, and we'd do, you know, pancakes. And on the farm here, we actually produce our own maple syrup. Not enough to sell to the public, but we usually finish off a couple gallons just for, you know, just for home use. And pancakes with real maple syrup with blueberry wine, man, you can't get much better than that. It's great. That's some real comfort food.
Awesome. So I know Chad just mentioned the pricing for the raspberry. Is that what we have next?
It is, yeah. So this is our raspberry wine. We do it in a sort of a dessert style. Well, it is definitely a dessert style, hence the bottle. This one is the sweetest wine we make, but the reason we do it so sweet is we make it taste exactly like you're putting a handful of fresh red raspberries in your mouth. Speaking of spritzers, this is the perfect one for that, Chad. This one and making like a wine cocktail. My wife likes to take this one, and you guys have so many vodkas on the shelf at the state liquor stores. If you take this one and mix it like a shot in a regular standard wine glass and a shot of like Pinnacle whipped vodka along with that, it is ridiculously good. Obviously chilled, absolutely delicious. We like to take, you know, a sparkling wine and mix it with it too. We make one out of Cayuga grapes, which is more along the lines of like a traditional, you know, brut champagne. Goes good. Obviously, you don't need to use one of ours. You can get a cheaper bottle of champagne too. You'll get the effect. It's the bubbles, and it also stretches out that small bottle. So yeah, and you guys always have sparkling wine sales too in the state stores. So yeah, that one's great. Absolutely chocolate, raspberry wine and chocolate, perfect. Cheesecake again, like an espresso cheesecake, super good. You tell your fiance to pick one of those up on the way home to go with those burgers.
I wonder if he can hear you.
But yeah, this one, raspberry wine is literally the easiest wine in the world to make. Raspberries seem to always come in clear, a perfect, unbruised, like perfect fruit. We pick them up the same day as they're picked, right over at Applecrest Farms as well. Yeah, in this one, I wish I could put it in a bigger bottle. Can't. Raspberries are probably the most expensive fruit to be purchased by our farm. There's no easy way to pick a raspberry. They're all hand-picked. So yeah, if we can figure out a way to do it and lower the cost or maybe make it bigger bottle, we definitely will. But we are super happy with the way this one comes out, consistently bulletproof. And it's kind of a testament with sticking with the farms that we stick with. So cheers. I don't mean to rub this in with you every time I take a sip. I hope you catch up later.
Looks like some of the people we have here on Zoom are tasting along with us, so that's awesome.
Beautiful. Well, the beauty of this is that my home is literally 200 feet from the tasting room, so I don't have a long commute. I don't have to drive afterwards, so that's a great thing.
I feel like that's the best thing about having our virtual tastings. You know, we know everybody's being safe and responsible because you're all at home tasting along.
It's true. I mean, we obviously as a you know, winery, we do miss doing the on location tastings. Unfortunately, during this whole thing, we're not allowed to do it, but this reaches a good amount of people as well, and I really like it, and I really appreciate you guys inviting me again. It's really fun, actually.
So, Louis, we do have a couple of questions, people wondering if they're allowed to come to your tasting room right now. It sounds like yes, but
yes, yeah. So we do have tastings. All the tables are appropriately spaced as per the governor's orders and everything. So it's sort of just like a restaurant. Tables are 6 feet apart. We have to capture your name. Reservations are required, but if we're not full, you can come in. We have to capture your name for contact tracing and things of that nature. In the event that someone does, get sick, we have to, protect you. We protect ourselves. We'd have to shut down as well. We also do curbside, and you can order online. So call us up, go on our webpage, and any way you can get our wine, we'll get it to you.
Cool. So for those of you watching, we also have a curbside pickup program at our stores. So if you wanted to try any of the varieties that Louis tasted tonight, we do have these all at our stores. If you wanted to try maybe the blueberry in the bourbon barrel, which I may have tried last year when I went to the tasting room, you can do curbside with the winery directly too. So great opportunity to try some wines safely, pick them up, head home, drink responsibly. One of the viewers on tonight, she actually said that she just placed an order on our website and she's going to use the wines for a charity auction. So that's awesome.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, we actually just had that happen here in our town. We had obviously they always want to go to the town winery for things of that nature. We can't give away wine; it's against the law. But we do give away gift cards. So yeah, I mean, nonprofits or anything like that, we don't mind that either. You go on our webpage, and we also have a thing on there that you fill out a form for donations and such. And we certainly love to give back.
Awesome. All right, everyone. So for those of you playing along with our passport program, it's the time that you've been waiting for. I'm going to announce tonight's code word. Do you have your apps open? Are you ready? There's 3 options for the code word, and tonight's code word is local. So enter that into your Scavify app to earn 100 points for attending tonight's event. Thank you so much to everybody who is playing along. It looks like you guys are having fun. You're answering tons of trivia questions in the app, and you're attending lots of events, getting the code words. So that is getting you closer to an entry for a $2,500 gift card to our stores. So we're calling this the Ultimate Home Bar because you're going to be able to build your own Ultimate Home Bar with that gift card. That prize pack also comes with a little bit of one-on-one guidance from Chad here and Lisa from our wine team and Mark from our spirits team. So we hope that you're all playing along. We hope you're getting excited. And that's just the grand prize. There's also a second prize, and I believe third prize is 10 prizes. So visit 90daysaroundtheworld.com to learn more about those different prizes and to see what other events we have coming up. So, Louis, can we just go through it again? Can we taste everything again?
Absolutely. Not a problem. Do you want me to, really?
No, I'm just kidding.
My wife might find me out here really late later, then I'll be like relaxing. If anybody's ever been in our tasting area, we have a really, really comfortable setup out here. Nice tables and chairs, a couch seating area. We even have I don't even know what that is, probably an 80-inch TV hanging there too.
Nice.
Yeah.
One of our viewers said that my voice was going out when I announced the code word. I'm so sorry. I hope I'm clear now. The code word is local. So I've also put that in the chat, and I'll post that to Facebook when we share the recording of tonight's event as well. So Louis, we have a few more questions for you if you don't mind.
Oh yeah, keep them coming.
So Laura, who is here with us on Zoom tonight, she's tuned in from Connecticut and is wondering if your wines are available anywhere near her, because it looks like she can't get to New Hampshire right now.
So the answer is, the real answer is maybe. So if you go on our webpage, you can actually, there's on the toolbar on the top, you can actually go on there and we can't legally ship just because of you know, the convoluted laws. Everybody has their own laws in each individual state, but we use a third party shipping company called Vino Shipper. So if you go on there, and if Connecticut is one of the states that we can ship to, you order through that company. They handle the licensing. The invoice comes to us. We fill it, and you know, it gets shipped UPS right to your doorstep.
Awesome. And so then next question we have is for Chad. So Chad, one of our viewers is curious how you decide which wines are actually going to come in store.
That's a very difficult question to answer. There's a lot of factors that go into it, depending on what the wine is, but there's a lot of research that goes involved. We do a lot of market research and things like that, and it really kind of depends what the wine is. But yeah, there's a lot of different avenues for it to come in.
Cool. Yeah, Chad has, I feel like his job is amazing. He gets to hang out with me on Thursday nights for a virtual wine tasting, but you guys should see all the work that goes into what he does. We would have to have a separate meeting, a separate Zoom meeting just to talk about how he actually chooses wines, but it's definitely a cool job. Lewis, Tracy here on Zoom has been to almost all, actually, Tracy, you might have been to all of our 90 days events so far. You might, or maybe you only missed, nope, yep, you've been to all of them. Okay, she just confirmed. So Tracy is
running that program then.
She's like the MVP of the 90 days program, and she is curious if you had to pick a favorite of your wines, which one would it be?
Oh God. Wow. Which kid do I like the best, I suppose? Geez. Out of the 6 that are here, I'd have to say probably the Niagara. And I'm not a huge sweet wine person. I love the characteristics of this wine, and I never ever get sick of it. Yeah, I like it warm. I like it cold. I like it in the winter. I like it, you know, it sounds like a Dr. Seuss thing, but that, no, I really do. I think that it's a really great grape. And if I didn't like it that much, I wouldn't plant so many of those vines. I just really think that it's a great signature grape for New Hampshire, and it makes a wonderful wine.
Awesome. All right, everyone. If there aren't any more questions, I would like to just, kind of close out by thanking everybody for joining us tonight. For those of you who are going to be watching this as a replay when we share it on Facebook, I apologize that we couldn't get live on Facebook tonight, but hey, technology lets us record as we're going. If you have any questions for Lewis when you're watching this replay, please go ahead and leave a comment. We can send the question over to him. You can tag the winery on Facebook as well, and he responds to those comments and questions too.
Absolutely.
We hope that you will visit 90daysaroundtheworld.com to find out about our upcoming events, get some more points for your passport, enter to win some prizes, and we hope you have a great rest of your week. Tomorrow we'll be back. We're going to California tomorrow. Quite the hike from New Hampshire to California, but it's going to be great. We hope everybody had a great time tonight, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Lewis. Thanks, Chad.
Thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for everything you do.
Thank you. Good night.
Happy holidays.